best friend committed suicide on September 24th. Any suicidal thought I had was instantly like pulled into the ether. Literally, it just kind of like just sucked it, gone. I could feel it. I could literally feel it just being pulled away from me. And I didn't understand it because I'm like, man, they were pretty intense, you know. But you know, in hindsight, it's like, well, it's not like he got to it first. It's not like that, but you know what I mean. It's I don't know. I guess it's hard to think about killing yourself when your best friend just killed himself, even though you were suicidal the whole time. It's a weird dynamic, and he knew I was. So, anyways, fast forward to now, and you know, for the last few weeks, I've had some moderate suicidal thoughts. And because I'm still dealing with a lot of stuff, even though I've, you know, escaped a toxic relationship and everything else, I think I felt like I was out, but really, in reality, I'm not quite out. And I don't mean out from any of all my, you know, parental responsibilities. I don't mean that. I just meant like, you know, alleviating a larger chunk of stress and anxiety and stuff. It didn't relieve as big of a chunk like that as I had thought. While I'm trying to combat those feelings, and you know, given that you know my life is you know should and is kind of on an upswing, you know, turning things around. um I've you know, I've had, you know, because things, I've had like a lot of hopelessness at times, like I'm, you know, I'm not, you know, you know, doing things correctly, I'm not getting things done properly in a whole different, you know, plethora of ways, you know. I've always been you know, the type of person to keep people happy, even though I would put myself the last on that list. You know, people, and but I was a very selfish individual. I was very materialistic for a very long time. But nevertheless, I would also make sure that you know people were happy, my clients, you know, anybody around me that needed something or I could help them, whatever, I would do it. So lately, what I've been doing, um, you can go online now, and you have for many years, and you can see all types of violence. You can see all types of grotesque brutality, true brutality, because it's been going on, you know, ever since the dawn of time. It's just now everybody's got a video camera in their hand, and you know they can document it and, of course, put it on the internet. So there are websites out there that have no security or any, you know, you can openly go, anybody can go, and you can see people beheaded and killed, and you can see people kill themselves and, you know, shoot themselves and all kinds of things, anything. People do it now live on Facebook and YouTube and all this stuff, whatever. So there's a plethora of documentation of horrible stuff happening to people, human beings. You know, either by accident or by design. Watching videos online of people committing suicide in a variety of ways has been extremely comforting and somewhat preventative for me. So while I don't think I should be watching this stuff, I don't think it's a good idea. I am sort of uncontrollably drawn to it. Um, and it's, you know, it's, it's pretty, it's, doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. But nevertheless, it's kind of working. Sorta. Kinda. But here's the other thing. The other thing that's comforting, and it's hard to say, but and hard to admit, I guess, or hard to just verbalize, but like the idea of committing suicide for me is to the point where it's an option, and that's merely what it is. It's it's a horrible in case of fire, break glass scenario. Like, and maybe people you're not understanding me, but I'm saying that I think if pushed, well, I'm not saying if, I'm saying definitely that if I were to be pushed enough, hard enough, or I end up in some downward spiral of depression or whatever, be it you're triggered by someone else or my own anxieties and stuff, that I don't think it would be very difficult for me to follow through with it. And here's the thing too, I've really thought about it in a lot of different ways and stuff, and it's like, especially watching the videos that I've seen, there's all kinds of ways you can commit suicide. You don't have to shoot yourself. There are some other fairly surefire ways you can get the job done. So while it's not a desire, it's still not a desire. It's not. I don't sit here thinking about, oh, I just want to die. I can't. I hate my life. Oh, it's horrible. I don't. My life's tough. It's things aren't easy right now, but my life's been much worse. I know that, but you know I also didn't have as many dynamics as I do now. That is the problem. When you have people in your life that don't understand the severity or aren't willing to understand and certainly accept it. I mean, it makes it very difficult, you know. Um, Especially now, like trying to get through certain life changing situations and stuff. But if you have people that aren't being communicative and they're not understanding and making things more difficult for you, then well, that's not good, you know. So that puts you in a bad headspace, you know. Uh, I don't know. It's weird to think like that. To think like, well, if shit hits the fan, I can just kill myself. Fuck it. Shit's hit the fan many times. I think it's you know if it becomes compounded or is a very like jarring or intense scenario or something triggering. I don't know. I really don't know. Like I've said it a million times to people, and I truly don't think people understand the when I say it. Like my mind will destroy me. It literally will fucking destroy me. Anybody that knows me knows I got a fucking radically intense mind. I'm very determined. I am forthright. You know, I'm direct. I'm independent. You know, I don't have family. I don't have friends. I don't have, you know, those things. I didn't grow up in a loving home. There were no hugs and kisses. There were no I love yous. It just wasn't there. There was abuse. But even that I don't use as like a reasoning for feeling the way I do now or anything else. In fact, I can pretty well pinpoint, you know, the actions of others and things that I've done to myself, certainly, that got me to this point mentally, you know. Believe me, you're like, dude, you're taking these pills and shit and you're still having these suicidal thoughts and stuff. Yes. Yes. You know why? Because the number one side effect to taking SSRIs is everybody at once now, suicidal thoughts, desires, whatever. Isn't that nice? And people are fucking like blown away like I can talk so freely and openly about this. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm talking to a camera. You know, I see a therapist once a week if I'm lucky. If I'm lucky. Right now, I'm in the middle of a 2 week, you know, no therapy span because I couldn't get an appointment. When my DP and DR was at its peak, I wasn't leaving the fucking house for weeks at a time. Days I barely leave the bedroom. And because at that point I had a data processing company and other people working for me, I could do it. I could literally sit in my bed for 2, 3 days and just go to the bathroom and have somebody bring me food. I've done it. There were times where weeks went by I didn't leave the house. Never stepped foot outside. You know, went through the house and did things, but I never left the house. I think the longest I was like 2.5 weeks, maybe 3. But I could do it. Now I can't. So what am I supposed to do? I don't have family to lean on. I don't have friends to lean on. And I wouldn't do it anyways. I wouldn't put that on people. Oh, I gotta, you know, mooch off of you till I get my shit back together. You know, that's not me. It's just not me. From seeing what happened, what depression did to other people, and seeing what it did to my friend Jeff, and knowing what it's trying to do to me. That's what I mean when I say I know my mind could very easily destroy me. And I'm literally doing everything I can. I'm fighting every single day to not let that happen. I feel like I've been a 12 stepper forever. It's like one day at a time, one day at a time. I've been one day at a time for fucking goddamn over half a decade. When do I get to fucking, you know, motherfucking exhale? When do I get to, like, you know, relax? Even just for a little bit. I don't expect to lay around. Just a little. Just that would be like monumental. Like to not even have to worry about half my problems for just a moment. Anyways, I don't know how to end this other than I'm still here.